Acosta's got it!
He's got it! Unbelievable!
When I was younger, I always got really nervous pulling up to my starting position, and it's weird because as soon as those lights go on, I remember like all nerves would disappear and it's just 100% concentration.
Being the grid at the end for me is the most stressful moment in whole weekend. It's exactly when it's the moment to show all the work, how good you are. It's quite stressful sometimes.
When the race is starting, I'm immediately focused on my job and start some strategy.
It's a strange one to explain because it's, you know, the anticipation's there, the work's been done throughout the weekend, and basically that's your time to sort of go and do work.
Motorcycle racing is the simplest and most exciting form of motorsport. It is a closed circuit, a given number of laps, the lights go out and the first past the checkered flag wins, basically.
It's the greatest show on earth. It's the most gladiatorial show on earth, and it is quite simply motorcycles travelling at up to 200 miles an hour, sometimes over, and quite simply the aim is to finish ahead of everybody else around you.
You are watching guys risk their lives pretty much week in, week out, and doing it with a kind of unbelievable level of control and precision that to bystanders like you or I is just incomprehensible. There is something that just makes your heartbeat and your heart rate rise ever so slightly about seeing guys trying to overtake at around 150, 160 miles an hour. I mean, that is something that gets the pulse racing.
We're used to other sports where you can get hurt, you can get injured, you can do some damage to yourself. But in road racing, the worst can happen at any given time, and riders are aware of that. When they put their leg over the bike, they know the risks that they're taking and they're still willing to go out and do it. And that's what makes road racing special.
These riders are complete athletes. To win a world championship isn't about raw speed and raw talent, it's about piecing all the pieces of a jigsaw together.
Obviously they're travelling at speeds of 300 kilometres an hour plus in a race, and the ability to make decisions travelling at speeds like that, decision making, problem solving, strategy. So the ability to not let your emotions or anything that's happening outside of the track get in the way of what's happening inside your helmet on race day in that moment.
Yeah, it's the best sport in the world, man. You know, it's got everything. It's got technique, it's got danger, it's got glamour, it's got grit. Yeah, I mean, the people that do it at the very top, they can die, you know, and that's what separates motorcycle racing from most other sports, and that's what makes it a completely different ball game to everything else, I think.
The first one in MotoGP was this one. I broke at the same time the curvatus and the radius. This one is a little bit more fresh. I broke again the radius. I have like in my collarbone, typical one. You can see here a little bit of scars, and also here, that is the same one.
I had a crash at Portimao. I broke my femur. I got run over and I hit my tibia and fibula. This one was from Estoril in my first race. I high-sided and broke my hand and also my collarbone.
Yeah, well, I got obviously the surgery I had on my leg. I got the arm pump surgery as well. I arrived in one corner. When I arrived, the engine broke. I fly, and when I hit in the floor, I go like this.
It's difficult to find words to explain riding a bike because it's like our passion, our job.
For me, when I ride a bike, I feel very free, and it is something I'm always looking forward.
I really like the risk you take, but at the same time, the control you have to have from the machine and pushing the limits, and I love every single thing about that.
Yeah, my favorite thing is to feel that adrenaline, no? Riding the limits around all the tracks that we've been.
First time when I ride
with the Moto2 was a little bit crazy, no? Because it's a prototype bike. When I rode the first time, I think that I was in a horse, no?
Riding a Superbike, they're just so advanced with all the electronics you can put into them, the traction control, the wheelie control, the torque reduction. You can really dial in the bike to go around the track. All the adjustability they have with the, you know, the pivot change and the head angle change. Like, there's just so much you can do to the Superbike, but they're fun.
Yeah, riding Moto3 is honestly pretty adrenaline because every lap you don't know who's gonna pass you, how many people are you in the group. Sometimes you arrive in the turn and suddenly 3 people pass you and you say, fuck, from where are they coming from, you know?
It's strange to explain, but I think it's not too much about the power. It's more about the make perfect line and take the speed in all corners to make the good lap time to sit there in the corner.
The best riders in the world in these days are supremely calculated, disciplined, ruthless, and just 100% committed to the sport that they're in. There's nothing else in their life than motorcycles and going fast. They are introspective, they look to themselves where they can improve, they are leaders, they know how to direct a crew to help a motorbike go as fast as possible, and they know exactly what they need to do on the track in any given moment, in any given scenario, basically. The MotoGP World Championship is the Formula One of motorcycle racing. You can't buy these bikes in the shop. They're the best bikes in the world, piloted by the best riders in the world, with the best teams and engineers and best minds in motorcycling in the world. It's as simple as that.
In terms of prestige and in terms of history, nothing really trumps it. We're talking about a championship that began in 1949, 76 years of running, and pretty much throughout those 76 years, you've been able to say the rider that wins the 500cc championship, or now the MotoGP World Championship as it's known, is the best rider in the world on that given year, which is pretty much the kind of endpoint for anyone that's getting into road racing.
It's the 22 best riders in the world on 22 of the fastest motorcycles in the world. These things do 220, 225 miles an hour. And you know, there's nothing strapping the riders to the bikes. They're just literally holding on, and they're holding on with their hands and feet. So it's just, from a kind of crazy point of view, it's on another level to Formula One. It's just a complete another level. You know, if you're after something raw and edgy and risky, then, you know, I mean, Formula One's there and MotoGP is there. No doubt about it, no doubt about it.
As you can imagine, it is the creme de la creme, it's the pinnacle of the sport, so it attracts the best of everything. The best riders, the best teams, the best tyre technicians, the best designers of the bikes, in theory the best members of the press, even the best cooks in the whole of motorcycle racing, very likely will be in MotoGP. So everyone is super, super competitive. Technically, you're going to have the best minds working on these bikes, especially in this day and age with all of the aerodynamics on the bikes. Like a Formula One car, you've got wings, so you need to combine the best engine with the best aero, with the best tyres, and obviously the best riders. So put all these elements together, and you just imagine how hard it is to get a lap in that's quicker than everybody else.
MotoGP riders today, they are the absolute best in the world. It takes a lot of fine tuning to be amazing on a MotoGP bike over many years. You just can't swap from a Superbike to a MotoGP bike and be great. The demands are just completely different.
You are on the edge at every single moment. So the classic example is that the contact patch of the tyre, which is the amount of the tyre. And remember, there's only 2 tyres on a bike, not 4. They say it's about the size of a mobile phone or a credit card. That's all it is. This crazy amount of horsepower being put through that bike. On top of that as well, you've got the pressure of knowing the whole world is watching. MotoGP is the motorcycle racing world championship, which is distributed across all the world. So you've got the pressure of knowing the world is watching, hundreds of millions of people all over the world, as well as packed grandstands at the track. And if that doesn't add some pressure on, I'm not really sure what does.
You need to be world champion, or at least have been fighting for a world title. Everyone in the grid has at least fight for a world title in the past years. So imagine the level is what I want to say is we are the best in the world. We are the 22 best in the world. So I think it's enough.
You know, I remember when I entered in MotoGP, that was so difficult to have a good technique, trying to, especially for the wheelie out of the corners. Right now it's quite easy to ride. Of course, it's never easy. It's easy for a guy that is riding in MotoGP for a long time. But you have much more things to do while you are riding, especially with the devices and also with the mappings.
MotoGP is the absolute ultimate limit of technology, whether it be in terms of engine, suspension, brakes, chassis, you know, so on. You know, they're forever pushing the boundaries of modern and new technologies, and it's basically the pinnacle. It's where everybody wants to go if you want to try and prove yourself. First of all, you need to arrive there, and second of all, you need to stay there. No, it is getting tougher and tougher for sure.
Hello, it's Alex Rins, MotoGP rider for Team Yamaha Monster Energy.
Alex Rins is currently Yamaha's factory MotoGP rider, teammate to Fabio Quartararo. And in some ways, he's the nearly man of the sport. He's come very, very close to winning world championships on multiple occasions in Moto3. Moto2, he was a challenger there as well. And then also in MotoGP, but he's never quite had that final ingredient to become a world champion. He's got the talent, there's absolutely no question about that. And in recent years, he's really had some grisly injuries, almost career-threatening injuries that have really derailed his career. So he was, in his days at Suzuki, a championship challenger. We saw that in 2020. He had the potential to maybe fight for the championship in 21 and 22. It didn't quite go to plan, and unfortunately, in the last couple of years, he's been riding machines that just haven't quite been at the absolute forefront of the class.
Yeah, last year, as you said, in Mugello, I had one of my hardest injuries ever in my life in the motorsport, MotoGP. I crashed in Arrabiata 1. I lose a little bit the rear, and then I enter on the gravel with the bad luck that I enter on the backwards. So I start to roll on the gravel, and I had a really bad injury on my leg. I broke my tibia and fibula in 2 places, and then I lose a lot of bone from my tibia. This was really hard because, you know, I get the surgery. When I was talking with the doctors, they say that to be recovered fully, I need 6 months, but in 3 months, 2 months, I was able to jump again on the bike. Honestly, I didn't realize the gravity, the amount of the injury since I jump again on the bike. I go back home on Saturday from Phillip Island. We see that I did like a little bit of a, you know, the thing that we make on the arm pump, so leg pump. I did one leg pump in my leg. So I did small surgery that I go out walking from the hospital. So it really put out a lot of pain. So I just did the last race in Valencia and the test with the new bike with the Yamaha. And honestly, I'm fully recovered right now. Well, my motivation to start this 2024, really high motivation. I mean, I'm switching to Yamaha to the official team. Right now the bike is not at 100% competitive, so I'm really motivated to bring my experience and to bring my all the things that I know to improve the bike.
I think it's definitely a good time for Alex to have switched to Monster Energy Yamaha team for a couple of years. Just like Honda, Yamaha had been completely in the doldrums, but they have completely revamped their race department, their MotoGP effort. They've realized that they've had to get pretty radical to try and change their fortunes. And by doing that, they've hired some of the best in the business from Ducati. They've completely revised their working method, and they've become a little bit more, well, not a little bit, a big bit more aggressive in how they are developing the bike. So it could be a good time for Alex to be part of this Yamaha project. Quite simply, Pedro Acosta is the future of MotoGP. He is the most exciting thing to come into MotoGP in, I would say, a decade. What we've seen from him so far in Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP points to him being the next absolute superstar of the sport, the guy that is going to take over from Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin as the absolute leaders of MotoGP.
I'm Pedro Acosta and I ride for Red Bull Gas Tech Tour Factory team. In my first season on Moto3, I was getting €0 to ride because if you remember, I arrived like in the last moment to KTM and was quite tough. And imagine the pressure to start to winning, be compared with names like Valentino, like Marquez. In my fourth race in Moto3, I was already in the press conference. It was a big transition compared Moto3 and Moto2. My first season I struggled a lot. I was super light, I was super small. I started to crash like hell and arrived one moment that I was not really understanding why this was happening, you know, because in Moto3 was everything so easy, let's say. Or everything was like easy to understand how to go fast and how to win a championship in a first year. Was then difficult to understand why I was not winning, you know, and crashing and not making the result. It's true that from the first to the second year in Moto2, I make a big change in my mind. And to be honest, before I was just trying to win, then I was just trying to finish in top 5 and be realistic when you are able to win or not. And at the end, it's not who win the battle, is at the end who win the world, you know, for this. It's true that Moto2 is a tough class, but mentally helped me a lot.
Vamos, baby, vamos para afuera. Yo me pongo sexy, lista para la fiesta. Con unos tequilas, muevo la cadera. Quiero que me bailes, tócalo, tócalo. Tócalo. Quiero que me bailes, tócalo, tócalo. Muévelo. Báilalo, bríncalo, tócalo, muévelo. Báilalo, bríncalo, tócalo, muévelo.
Acosta, I think, coming into MotoGP was one of the most eagerly awaited rookies that we've had probably since Marc Marquez back in 2013. Just because of his track record in Moto3 and Moto2, coming up and winning both of those categories, before he was even 20 years old is quite a remarkable achievement. And also just because of that sort of sense of fun that he brings. There's maybe the train of thought that MotoGP has got a little overly serious in the last couple of years. And Acosta knows how the game works. He's very intelligent and he knows, I think, how to be an entertainer first and foremost. He knows how to ride a motorcycle to the absolute top level, but he also knows what gets fans on board, what gets fans excited, and that is being a kind of larger than life character, being funny, and he's able to crack great funnies in his second language very, very easily at such a young age. But he also knows that what gets fans interested and what gets fans into the sport is a little bit of pique, a little bit of rivalry. And he's gone on record a couple of times saying that MotoGP is just a bit too nice at the moment. And when he gets to that level where he's winning races, he plans to upset the apple cart. So I think with that in mind, people were looking at Acosta thinking, okay, he's not just going to be fast and exciting to watch on the track, but he's going to be blockbuster entertainment off it.
Vamos, baby, vamos para afuera. Yo me pongo sexy, lista para la fiesta. Uno unos tequilas, muevo la cadera. Quiero que me bailes, tócalo, tócalo. Tócalo. Quiero que me bailes, tócalo, tócalo. Muévelo.
Well, for sure it's pressure, you know. At the end, coming from winning the Moto2 World Championship is never easy. Also, becoming from the hand from KTM is not easy also because it's a big manufacturer, a lot of success around the motorcycling world, and it's never easy. Also, they always really bring me like in the arms, you know, in the hands, and it's never easy to understand what's gonna happen in the next season. But for sure, we will try to make something nice.
Y si no lo tocas, otro lo toca. Y a ti nada te toca.
One of the most promising Moto3 rookies this year will be Jacob Roulstone. He's an Aussie kid coming from the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup. I've known him for quite a few years. He's one of the brightest talents to come out of Australia, and he's a really, really exciting prospect in one of the best teams in the Red Bull Gas Tech 3 squad. He's got the right people around him, and I think he can do some great things this year.
For Jacob to make it to the point that he's at now, he has not only sacrificed a lot, but he puts a lot of effort in. He loves to be on the bike as much as he can, but also it's the off-bike training. So if he's not training on a track, he's there running, cycling, or in the gym, you know. And also it's the study that they do for where they're going in the next race. You know, he's wanting to do this. This is his dream, so we support it. But yeah, his work ethic is pretty high.
The thing I love about racing bikes or riding a bike in general is just the real freedom and the adrenaline you get for anything you do on it. The speed is incredible, the forces, the feeling from the engine. I don't think there's anything to really describe. Hello, I'm Jacob Roulstone, rookie in the Moto3 category for 2024, and I'll be racing for Red Bull Gas Tech 3.
Everyone wants to be in MotoGP, but the place they have to start is in Moto3. These are much smaller capacity machines. They're still very fast. They go about 250 kilometers an hour, and it's actually some of the most exciting racing you'll see in the world. You have about 30 riders, and they're all a massive leading pack of 16 to 20 riders banging elbows side by side all the way to the finish line, and it's almost a bit of a gamble on who's actually really going to win. That's where you really learn your racecraft, let's say, rather than handling a beast of a motorcycle. Let's say the Moto3 bikes are a little bit more user-friendly, let's say, than the MotoGP bikes.
Moto3 is what we call the lightweight class in the World Championship. Below MotoGP and Moto2, you've got Moto3. The rider can make more of a difference here because the bikes have less power, so the riders do need to have that slight edge. Because they are less powerful though, you get more bikes in the group, and slipstreaming, i.e. following the bike directly ahead of you to get in the clean air and get more of a run, is absolutely critical. So the races are often chaotic because you could have 10, 15, maybe even 25 riders locked together from start to finish. And very much like Moto2 guaranteeing a place in MotoGP, Moto3 and winning that 9 times out of 10 means you are in Moto2 the next season.
Racing is a ladder that you have to climb to make it to the top. And you'll come through one of the Talent Cups, Asia Talent Cup, European Talent Cup, and you work your way up, and then you get into the European Junior Championship, the Junior World Championship. So by the time, if you make it into Moto3, you've already come a long, long way. Just to make it into Moto3 is a huge achievement. I mean, you should never think that the guys in Moto3 aren't, they're just like kids racing. I mean, these kids have been racing, so they're late teens, but most have been racing 10 years already.
Moto3 is always crazy because the race you have a lot of tension because the other riders is always close. But I like a lot this race because you can read different things to overtake the other riders.
Everyone's really fast. Everyone that is there deserves to be there. That everyone that is there, I would say, is competing at a really high level. It's not just like riding a bike on a Sunday, hopping on your bike and doing the race. It's like everything behind it is like your really professional work.
To make the difference, you have to like push really hard. This is, I think, one of the most special things about Moto3. You learn the hard fighting in a group. Slipstream is very, very important in Moto3. So loads of riders takes it, but I enjoy a lot riding it alone.
For me, if you don't have the pace in Moto3, doesn't matter because you have one slipstream and still there. In Moto3, if you don't have the full speed and you go behind, you can catch back. But if you go on the back and you have the full pace, you can come back on the front.
Certain circuits, of course, you go to Saxering, slipstream is like no. But if you go to Australia when you're in a group, you can smoke a PT and you're following them, that's true, honestly.
Every material is very, very similar. The manufacturer difference is not much as well. And always it's very even playing field, and the slipstream is such a big thing because it's such a smaller capacity bike, so speed doesn't have enough power to be able to push through the wind. So you have a bike in front of you and you gain so much, so it makes the racing so interesting. And I think in my opinion and in most is one of the most interesting racings in the world.
As a rookie, I think more nervous than pressure, because you are a rookie, you are learning a lot of new tracks, and I was so nervous for my first test in the end of last year in Valencia. I rode out and the main thing was just not to stall it in front of everyone, so I passed that, so that was the first thing that I ticked off. But I don't feel too much pressure at least for the first half of the season. I feel super excited, and I think real butterflies in the stomach to go race in Qatar under the lights. I think it's special for that to be the first round, and I don't know what to expect, to be honest. I am super excited for that.
To get Jacob into the World Championship, of course there's sacrifices, and so sacrifices from the rest of the family. My daughter and my husband are still living in Australia working to fund this, so there's a massive financial sacrifice, and then there is the separation sacrifice as well, that we're not home every night to see each other, so you miss out on those special things like a wedding or a family birth or something like that. So.
If you're a Moto3 rider and you're in basically one of the factory seats, you've got the Red Bull helmet and things like that. That is a massive feather in your cap, basically. There's 26 riders on that grid. You are one of a maximum 5, 6 with those full factory logos and support behind you. That is a big sort of check that, I have got more promise than the rest of you. I have, some of them might see it as more expectation and more pressure, but actually those riders that are in those seats tend to relish that and use it to their advantage, basically. And that's got to be a massive confidence boost for him.
happy to be with Jacob. He's a good rider, he has talent. During the test, I was watching the data and he's really good rider. I think for this year he can do good results, but I think for the next year he will be a top rider in Moto3.
I really dream and work hard to becoming a multiple-time MotoGP World Champion. I wake up every day thinking to win every single race I compete in and out-qualify everyone, but it's motorsport at the end of the day, and nothing's planned. But no, that is my goal, and that is something that I am truly aspiring to be a multiple-time world champion like a bunch of my idols.
The Moto2 class is the step before the MotoGP category. It is where you do that final little bit of fine-tuning of your riding, your mentality, your preparation, learning how to work with others, crew, engineers, to fine-tune a motorcycle before you then move to the Premier category and attempt to become, attempt to achieve the ultimate goal of being a MotoGP world champion.
It is almost, these days, guaranteed that if you win Moto2, you are going to be in a MotoGP team the next year. Everybody's on identical machinery in terms of engines. They are all Triumph 765 engines, same tyres, Pirelli tyres from 2024 onwards, which is new. And it is also the most competitive championship in motorcycle racing. Because the bikes are so similar, it means the riding level is ridiculously high, because you've got to find those marginal gains, those tiny little things to get a step ahead of your rivals. So it means the riding standards are unbelievable, and that's why the racing is so close. And it also means one mistake can drop you way back down to the field.
And Moto2 is designed very specifically to have a kind of level playing field between all the riders. All the important things are identical. They're allowed to have different chassis, but the differences in those are tiny. So what you get is a race series where the rider makes all the difference. Again, this allows the MotoGP teams to go, this guy really knows what he's doing. We need to sign him up. So Moto2 is where you make your final bid to get into the Premier League, basically.
The pressure on the World Championship is so high because when you have to fight for win a championship, for win the race, here is where you think a lot. If you do a mistake, you think if you are not the same rider than the last race. Also, the people talk on the sofa, and yeah, this is not nice, but it's like this for riders.
It's really hard racing. The bikes are the same engine, same tires for everyone. The machines are super similar, and everything is so tight. Everyone is super fast, and in a small track, fighting with that big machine, so it's everything super tight.
The Moto2 competition is fierce. It's tough. It's tight. You got 20 riders within half a second sometimes, so it's very tough, and everyone's on the same machinery, so there's no lying. Especially in 21 when I won the championship, there was many good riders, but there was one guy that I battled hard all year, which was my teammate, and we fought until the last race for the championship.
Everyone, I think, is arrived in MotoGP and get one world championship. You need to have lucky also. You need to be lucky to have good teams, good results, because some people stay in good teams but don't have the results because yeah, you can be in the best team, but if the atmosphere in the best team is not the best, you have the bike for fight.
Yeah, it's so difficult because the level is high, but it's not just that the level is so high, it's just everyone is close to this level, so if you have something not under control or not in the perfect way you want to have, you will lose time or you will lose positions in the race. Everything counts. Each small part of the team counts, from the rider side to the team side. Everything counts. So just small details will make the difference here.
Diogo Moreira is a very exciting Moto2 rookie for 2024. A young lad from Brazil who has come through the Moto3 ranks. Maybe not lived up to his billing in Moto3 in my eyes, because he never quite went on to become a relentless race winner. But from what you hear with the riders he trains with, one of the most talented guys in the class. He rides regularly with the likes of Marc Marquez, Dani Pedrosa doing flat track supermotard, and in those disciplines he is absolutely phenomenal. So it's clear that he has a really, really high level of feel for what's going on underneath him. I haven't quite seen the best of him though in the Grand Prix paddock, and I think this year could be a year where we maybe see that.
Hello everyone, I'm Diogo Moreira in my race for Retail Trans. My first touch with the bike was when I was 40 years old, so my father gave me a motocross bike. There start all, and at the end it was very funny. Riding is like, because I enjoy a lot. I enjoy a lot and also it's my passion, so. When I come to Spain in 2017, I come with my father, so it was difficult to meet the people, and also was difficult to train. No? At the end, we are alone, and all my family was there in Brazil. Also, my mother stay in Brazil, so it was difficult to create the friends here, create the relationship with the people. And Angel Grau, with Angel, now I have like a more, how to say, like it's more family, you know. So at the beginning, Angel helped me a lot for training and also for staying in Spain, because at the end, with my family in Brazil, it was difficult to come to Spain. And yeah, only I need to say thanks to Angel, because for me was a great person and also great helper in my life. Yeah, for sure, the transition to Moto3 to Moto2 is difficult, no? Because at the end the bike is more heavy, also the engine is different, so it's difficult to understand. But yeah, we work very well, so take time to change this feeling. No, at the end we need to be focused on different parts. At the end, also the Pirelli tire is different, so it was difficult to understand. But at the end, I think we make a very good job.
Quite a few people in the Grand Prix paddock that think the transition from Moto3 to Moto2 is actually a bigger one than from Moto2 to MotoGP. And that's because you're going up from a pretty small bike in Moto3 to a pretty big one. From a 250cc four-stroke to a 765 triple. You see it with a lot of the rookies when they go into Moto2. The first thing that they notice is basically the strength goes away in their arms. They lose feeling. They suffer from arm pump, and they have to have surgery to have that alleviated. It's become almost commonplace with all the rookies now in Moto2. And another thing you have to deal with is in Moto2, you have to be on it from Friday morning. If you're not, you're going to be starting way back on the grid, and if you start way back in the grid, there's no chance of a good result. In Moto3, there are occasions when you can start on the 4th or 5th or 6th row, and you can come through and you can still get a good result. That is just not possible in Moto2. So it's a big step physically, and also in terms of how you have to approach the weekend. Yeah, there's no hiding place in Moto2.
pressure was because I put myself, no, because at the end I want to enter in a new category and make well the things and stay in the top group. No, at the end it was difficult because everything was new, also the team. So it was difficult to understand the tires, and yeah, at the end I think we make a very good job.
The World Superbike Championship is the highest form of production racing in the world. This is a championship where it was designed around the ethos of win on Sunday, buy on Monday. So manufacturers wanted to make sure that customers knew that their bike was the one you had to have. And the only way to do that was to beat your competition.
World Superbikes is the premier production-based motorcycle championship in the world. The depth of the field is very, very deep indeed. They are top riders. The bikes aren't that much slower than a MotoGP machine. Several of the riders could also compete in MotoGP, and the racing has always famously been extremely close.
The point of the championship is these are production-derived bikes. So they're not prototypes, they are close to what the customer can go out and buy, but of course modifications are made to make them race ready, so modifications to electronics and things.
So the way I try to explain it to people when I'm talking to them in the paddocks or if I'm doing interviews, if you imagine Formula One in the car world, it's prototypes which you can't buy and can't race on the street. The same is said for MotoGP. You can't go and ride a MotoGP bike down the street, although it would be quite fun if you could. So if you think about Formula One and MotoGP, very similar, and then think about, I don't know, world endurance car racing, touring cars, and superbikes. It's basically motorcycles that you can, in essence, ride on the street.
Hey, I'm Jonathan Ray, 6 times World Superbike champion.
Ray is the most successful superbike racer of all time. Not only does he have the most victories in the history of the championship, but he has the most world titles as well.
Jonathan Ray is the most successful rider in the 37-year history of World Superbikes. And he now has well over 260 podium finishes, well over 100 race wins, and is a 6-time world champion. Quite frankly, he's the man whose records everybody wants to beat.
No one has ever achieved that level of success. The previous record was Cole Fogarty, who won 4 championships. But what made Johnny so special is he managed to win them 6 years in a row.
Whenever he came to the World Championship, instantly he was fast. He ended up moving from a superbike in Britain to a super sport bike, so a 1000cc to a 600cc, totally different riding style, immediately contended for a World Championship. When he jumped onto a superbike, he put it on the front row his first weekend.
Everyone remembers my championship winning years, but they don't see the so many years before, since I was a 5-year-old in a motocross bike, you know, growing up with my family, going to races. I became world championship in 15. I must have been 28 years old. And I really wanted that wave to come, but it took so many years to arrive. And you know, when it did arrive, it became super tough for me mentally to keep at that level, because I felt like I got to the top of a mountain, let's say, and the only way was down, but I wanted to stay there. I wanted to stay there year in, year out, and that was tough. So, you know, I invested in myself a lot, trained really hard, always tried to step up my riding and my preparation, and I've been fortunate enough to have an amazing career, you know, and really proud of them years. And, you know, now a few years without winning a championship is reignited that passion again to, you know, push again for a 7th world title.
When Ray announced that he was moving to Yamaha, it sent ripples throughout the paddock, me included. I'd heard rumours that he was talking to different manufacturers, but because of the long-standing successful relationship with Kawasaki, I was really surprised, and I think a lot of people were as well.
Going into 2024 with Yamaha is an amazing opportunity for me. You know, I've been able to see that bike on track the last few seasons, see the progress the manufacturers made, and they welcome me with open arms. first test on the bike, I really enjoyed riding the bike. I think it complements my style, you know, fast flowing lines, and you know, I'm really intrigued to see how we get on together.
I think the easiest way to see how Jonathan Rea's mindset changed was the fact that he was so determined to win, he was going to do it by any means necessary, and he found for him that the best chance was to have a whole new project, start afresh, see if from the ground up you're able to do something different, and that's why ultimately he decided to leave Kawasaki, and that all stemmed from the fact that he didn't believe he could still win on a Kawasaki.
You know, you can't imagine how difficult it is to wrestle a 200 plus horsepower machine, 170 kilos. You're trying to accelerate, decelerate, change direction with that mass, that speed is tough. Then you've got so many people around you going the same speed. So you're always like pushing the boundaries, trying to go faster and faster, and that's stressful and nervous, especially when you're on your limit. So yeah, really intense, but really enjoyable as well, because when you put perfect lap together, it's like a feeling like no other. Superbike's so competitive, so you need some races to understand your true potential, but I think we can be there fighting from the start in Phillip Island, and hopefully be there at the end as well.
Alvaro Bautista is one of the most talented riders in the world. There's a reason that whenever he was 14, he was getting picked up by manufacturers to have a path to the World Championship in Grand Prix racing. There's a reason why multiple manufacturers backed him in MotoGP. There's a reason why Ducati wanted him in WorldSBK. He can do things that no one else can because he's got a very unique relationship with the Ducati V4. He's able to get the most out of that package, whereas other riders have struggled.
Alvaro Bautista is longevity. No rider that I can think of has had sort of such a successful career over such a long period of time. So he was 125 champion. Almost 20 years later, he is still competing in World Superbike at the highest levels, fighting for title wins. Obviously has recently won 2 titles back to back. So yeah, phenomenal that he is able to do that when he's about to turn 40.
Bautista changed World Superbikes in some ways because he came in at the start of the new 3-race format in 2019, and he came in on a bike that had a lot of MotoGP DNA within it, which was at the time the brand new Panigale V4 Ducati, which had very similar characteristics to the then MotoGP Ducati, and he absolutely cleaned up. He dominated the first part of the season, and then he threw it away spectacularly with a series of crashes because he didn't really understand the tyres and certain things, so he didn't know why he was crashing, therefore he couldn't stop crashing. But the way he dominated made everyone else look absolutely ridiculous at the time. It was actually worrying for World Superbikes that somebody could come in from MotoGP and do that, and it just showed again how high the level is in MotoGP, and it also showed how high the technology level is now in Superbikes because there's a load of MotoGP technology coming in.
For me, it was quite strange to see a rider come in and be that dominant. We've seen other riders come in from MotoGP and not be so dominant. So for me, it was kind of like, oh wow, like he's the real deal. He won the first 10, 11 races. He won the first race by about 15 seconds in Australia and just disappeared. That gap's obviously shrunk, and now we have a great championship. But I think for me, when he arrived, it was kind of like, holy shit, like this guy's the real deal.
Okay. I'm Alvaro Bautista and I am a 2-time World Superbike World Champion. When I came to World Superbike in 2019, I found really different championships, different bikes. It was something strange because I remember first time I started to work with Ducati, with the team. From day one, I went quite fast. So fast that I won the first 11 races in a row, no? Sincerely, I don't know why, because I just had a good feeling with the bike. I went fast, but at the same time, I didn't know why I go fast. No, it was natural, no. But then I missed some experience with this tire, with this bike, with this championship. Some tracks were new for me, so I started really well my first year with Ducati, but it finished really bad because we had some problems at the mid-season, and then the end of the season was really hard, no? And also I spent 2 years with HRC, with Honda, with a complete new project. For sure I expected more, but the reality was that we were struggling a lot with new bike, new team, and I think those 2 years helped me to get more experience with the bike, to get more the limits. Yeah, I think I grew up like a rider in those 2 years, no? So yeah, I had a really good moment at the beginning of my career in World Superbike, but also I struggled a lot of races, a lot of moments. So yeah, I have both emotions, no? Good and bad. Yeah, when I came back to Ducati in 2022, I felt that I was a better rider than in the past. I worked really hard myself during the 2 years riding for Honda, and I felt that I was prepared. I was prepared to have a good bike, good team, and then fight for something important, no? I know that I have to come back again to Ducati because the feeling with the bike was amazing, and the work with the team is fantastic. So when I came back, we started really well from the beginning. Yeah, the feeling with the bike was the best I had in all my career, no? And I can do everything with the bike. So the bike and me were just one, dancing together, no? And for sure, many people didn't expect that I can be competitive again. And for sure, almost nobody expect that I can win the title, no? Twice. Yeah, it was really important move for me. With all the experience I achieved during the first 2 years after before came back, it helped to me to be fighting for the championships. Well, into the new season, I'm so excited, no? Because it will be really one of my most important challenges in my career, no? After win 2 championships, now we have really challenging season ahead of us with a lot of change, no? Some of them with the new riders in the category, other riders that change manufacturers, and also new rules for bikes, no? And especially with the weight combination between rider and bike, for sure will be a difficult key for me, no? But at the same time, it's like a good challenge, good motivation, no, for me. For sure, right now I'm not looking for a result, no. I just try to keep working like I did in the past. Try to have a good feeling with the bike, try to be 100% fit, and try to do my best. Try to enjoy the bike, try to have the same feeling I had during the last 2 years, and fight like I did in all my career, no? Fight until the end, never give up, and just try to do my best, no? Then, you know, the champion can be only one, but if I can be one of those riders that fight for it, I'll be happy.
tell me about Toprak.
Toprak is one of the most sensationally, naturally talented motorbike racers ever to grace this planet.
He's a ruthless character. He's one of them guys that doesn't give you an inch, but does so in a respectful way, if you can have that.
To fight against him is something for sure difficult, but at the same time you enjoy it a lot because he's so aggressive. He tries everything in the track, every corner he tries to pass you, but at the same time he's really correct rider. So he respects all the riders and he fights with his best, but having respect from all the riders, no? So
Toprak has held on for 11 full laps, but can he hold on through the final turn? Bautista to the inside, Gagne, as he has so many times in this race, cuts back across the curve, drag race down to the line, big moment of the final turn from Bautista, Toprak, Gagne must have got it there.
What he does on a bike defies logic, and I know lots of ex-world champions who just cannot understand how he's doing it. He can be on the front wheel for several hundred meters towards a corner and still make the apex. And it's so frustrating for everybody else to race him because they can't understand what he's doing. But it's an unbelievable show. And he's also just a nice person.
I am Toprak Azgatlıoğlu, 2021 World Superbike Champion.
Toprak is the man of the moment.
I was lucky enough in 2015 when he first arrived in the World Superbike paddock to watch him race. The guy couldn't speak a word of English and immediately he made an impact. Just his style was so different. He was taking lines around the different corners that were so different to other riders, and he went on to win his first race. Fast forward nearly a decade and he's now taken that skill, that natural talent into Superbike.
Toprak's riding style comes from the fact that he's a stunt rider. He grew up being more comfortable on one wheel than the other, and he was always wheeling, he was always stopping, he was always just trying to find where the limit was. And his dad was a stunt rider, very famous stunt rider in Turkey, and he was able to teach Toprak all these skills very early. When Toprak went circuit racing, he brought them to the fore as well. And it's ended up where he's an acrobat on the bike, he's a showman on the bike, he's just a little bit special in so many different ways, and part of that is his character comes out on the bike. He is the most determined rider in the world. He's the most unique rider in the world. He comes from a mindset unlike any other. Whenever you talk to Toprak, the best races of his career are his training races with his Turkish friends. He goes out, he has to beat Kenan Safoglu, he has to beat Can Onchu, he has to beat Dennis Onchu. He has to go out and make sure that every time they're on a go-kart track together, he's the fastest. For Razgatlioglu, everything comes down to that competition, and everything comes down to the fact that he can't afford to be beaten at any given moment.
When I was young, I see my father, because my father is a stunt rider. He's make a wheelie and a stoppie, and also I'm very young. I'm always watching my dad, and I'm starting like a stunt rider. And after I moved to motorcycle, and every year getting more professional, and finally, 2021, I'm a world champion. And yeah, I'm normally starting the stunt rider, but after I moved to the motorcycle road racing.
Toprak winning the Superbike World Championship in 2021 was a real game changer, I think, not just for Toprak and the team that he was with, but also for the championship. All of a sudden we had this new pretender to the Jonathan Rea crown,
First year, 2020, I did the first race win in Phillip Island, but after I feeling some drop and I'm not did again a win, but end of the season I did again 2-time win. And 2021 for me is a different year because I adapt my bike and I learn my bike, and for me it's a full new year and I'm starting more strong. And after we are the world champion 2021, for me it's an incredible year because always my dream one day I'm the world champion, but we did 2021.
Toprak's move to BMW was seismic for WorldSBK because it set in motion everything else that happened. Rea's move to Yamaha wouldn't happen if Toprak stayed at Yamaha. Rea'd still be in Kawasaki, or he'd be on the sidelines, he'd retire. And for Toprak, the Yamaha wasn't going to be a package that was going to be able to win a world championship just because it didn't have the engine, it didn't have the top speed, it didn't have the package to win a world championship again. So he went looking elsewhere, and ultimately it was BMW that he went to because he didn't want to go to Ducati because that's the best bike on the grid. Anyone can win in a Ducati in Toprak's mind. Instead, he wanted to go somewhere that was going to give him a big challenge, and that was BMW. BMW is a bike that has a lot of potential. It's got a very strong engine, it's got good top speed. It's had good results, but it's had inconsistent results. Toprak saw all the resources BMW were going to put into WorldSBK, and he decided that this is where he wanted to go.
For me, it's not easy to sign the contract because the BMW is a little bit, not every race we can make a podium. But we know and everybody knows. When I'm signing with BMW, everyone say, you know, wrong choose, you know, your career is finished because BMW not winning bike. Everyone talking like this. But when we are starting win the race, everyone start say, okay, Toprak, normally we are believe you. You are also this year maybe the world champion, you know, everyone start talking like this.
People were shocked when Toprak decided to go to BMW, and the big reason for that was the bike had been inconsistent. They'd never won a world championship. They'd won a few races with Van der Mark in the wet at Portimao. They'd had pole positions with Tom Sykes, but they hadn't put a season together. And for Razgatlioglu to go to that team, it was seismic. It was a massive moment that changed everything, and certainly the move to BMW had a lot of reasons for it, but the biggest one was Razgatlioglu wanted to prove to everyone that he was the best rider in the world. This was a bike and a package and the resources that he needed to prove just how good he was.
I knew that he was talking to other manufacturers. I personally thought he was going to go in a different direction. But from speaking to him and also to his manager, Kenan Sofuoglu, their belief was clear from the outset. Both Toprak and his management believed that that was the best move for him. Not just in terms of short-term gains, in terms of fighting for the World Championship, but to try and create a legacy, if that's the right word. Obviously, Toprak has aspirations to win another World Championship. He has aspirations to have a long career, and I think moving to BMW will give him that.
But normally my career looks like a long career, but I am thinking the MotoGP. But we will see, you know, we need a good contract, we need a good team. I am just say, you know, we will see the future. But I'm just focused on my job, especially this year and the next year. I hope we are get the title. This is the important things for me.
Sean is one of those rare talents. He went to Moto2 and raced over in Europe for 2 years, and now he's back in Superbike. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him.
I'm Sean Dillon Kelly. I race for the Top Pro Racing team in MotoAmerica Superbikes.
Sean Dillon Kelly, or SDK as he's affectionately known, is for me one of the greatest American talents from the last 10 years. He's a really charismatic young man. He's super talented on a motorcycle. Certainly in Supersport when he won the championship, he was very much an all-rounder. He was very much capable of taking the fight to his rivals on you know, winning many races that arguably maybe he shouldn't have.
I've been lucky enough to see him come from being a young guy that had a big dream and didn't know a lot about him, and he developed into one of our top Supersport riders here, obviously in America. Won the championship here, and he did it in style. But he had a major goal. His goal was to get to Europe.
Sean Kelly is one. He's got ahead of him going into the corner.
Oh man, Red Bull Rookies Cup was
Another difficult time, but a beautiful time. That was first time being overseas, obviously in a championship that has so much history, a championship that has brought a lot of riders into the World Championship. Yeah, it was definitely a hard time though. You know, going in, I was only 13 years old, so to have made that move over to Europe at such a young age was difficult, but at the same time I was so young that I just, you know, I was living the dream, I was living my dream, I was on motorcycles. And
in this moment we don't have any sponsor, nobody. So we don't have too much options. We have to change our lives and sell everything. When I sell everything, sell everything, you know. We sell the furniture, we sell everything. We put this house for rent. I sell my business, I sell all cars, we have it. When you ask about how expensive it is, yeah, it's a lot expensive. I mean, expensive when the people like us, you know, we're not coming with the rich people, with a rich family, you know, so we are workers.
I think maybe at the time I didn't understand the sacrifices from mom and dad as much as I do now, even though I think I always appreciated it, but it was a nice 3 years. It was nice, the progress I had. It was nice to get to the level I was at with a lot of riders that are now in MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3. I was close to the podium many times, but I have so many memories, and at the end of the day, I pretty much built a second home over there.
I started working with Sean in 2019, young up-and-comer that had this drive, and the first experience I was really surprised with, not only was the talent, how grown up he went about racing and how more mature he was with his racing strategies. We clicked pretty much right off the bat, was able to communicate, was able to translate what he was feeling, and really had the same views and the direction to go forward, so it was a real easy fit.
Sean Dylan Kelly returning with Team Hammer in 2019 in Supersport, really for me gave him an opportunity to show what he wasn't able to show when he was in Europe. He was on a competitive bike with a competitive team, with people around him that believed in him. And even when he made mistakes, they didn't beat him down. They just kept telling him, right, we go again tomorrow, we go again in the next race.
Your new national champion, Sean Dylan Kelly, your 2021 Supersport champion.
Coming back to the US, but it was 2019 was my first year racing in MotoAmerica. I will say signing that Suzuki contract for 2 years was the best thing that could have happened to me, and it was, I guess I could say it was my first time being a true professional, getting a contract with some money coming into the pockets, and so it was not only a dream come true in that sense, but it was just a dream for my family and I, you know, finally seeing some light at the end of the tunnel after so many years of hard sacrifice. And 2020, I would say, was the hardest of the three, just because I went in with a straight up, I thought I was going to win the championship. I thought that championship was going to be mine, and I lost more times than I won that year. So I know that it made me grow a lot. It showed going into 2021. Just getting all the records and getting everything that we did. That last year was a huge year, and all I remember when I think back to 21 is how much I enjoyed that whole year. It was a fun year with so many great results that will be in the books for forever.
Sean obviously got 1.5 years full-time in Moto2, and I think what he will have learned and what everybody learned from that scenario was that's not enough time to come from a Supersport bike to a Moto2 bike. On paper, you'd think they're very similar. In reality, they're clearly not. To go from, and have the expectation to go from a national level 600 champion to all of a sudden a high point scoring finishing World Championship Moto2 rider ready for MotoGP in the next 2 years, that's an enormous jump. Do I think Sean was one of the best in the world and could have proved himself over time? Absolutely. Do I think he got the full opportunity to actually prove himself that way? Absolutely not.
That was a difficult chapter in my life. The chapter that made me grow the most, that made me learn the most. Most importantly, I made it to the World Championship, right? And we sacrificed and we worked our way into it, but we didn't grab a paycheck and pay my way in. It came through a lot of hard work, and clearly you can't compare. Can't compare the super sport bike. You can't compare the tracks. You can't compare the competition. Many say Moto2 is one of the, if not the most difficult class of all motorcycle racing, road racing. And yeah, even though we know lap times are right there, everyone's so tight, but at the end of the day, when you're 20th, no one really cares.
The reality of being there was so stressful. We were both away from our parents, our families, and it was a lot. It was a lot, especially at such a young age. It was a growing opportunity for both of us in all aspects, in his career, everything. So I think it was really cool, honestly, even despite what happened.
There's an old adage in racing, in all motorsports in fact, which is you're only as good as your last race. You know, a rider can get a podium or a top 5 in one race, and then a couple of races later, say they're wallowing outside the top 10, everyone's starting to question like, even just a simple, hey, what happened to him?
You're either winning or you've got money. It's as simple as that. I wasn't winning and neither did I have money, and that's why my World Championship experience was cut short. There is such a beauty to the GP paddock, just like there's so much beauty to racing in general, but that paddock definitely has its dark side, and it was tough to be halfway through the season without a ride, without what I think was definitely not deserved. It wasn't deserved to be in that way. Once I got through that, I was like, you know what? If I got through this, I could get through everything, and especially because you add in just what happened with my team, with that situation, and then like I said earlier, the injury as well. You add in all those things that I was going through, and once I got through that, it was just it was knowing that there's always there's always something more to do. There's always something to look forward to.
Welcome to California for round 6 of MotoAmerica 2024.
MotoAmerica is our premier series here in America. It's where all the best riders are trying to get to is Superbike here in America.
MotoAmerica is one of the most successful, most competitive domestic championships for motorcycle road racing in the world. It's the national championship of the US, and over the last 3 or 4 years in particular, we're seeing a lot of riders from Europe also making their way across the pond to race in the States because the competition is so high.
I'm Cameron Bobier, number 6 on the Tytler Cycle Racing BMW.
Cam Bobby is one of the most decorated riders we've had in Superbike. 5 Superbike championships. A lot of those years were dominant years. He'd rack up 17, 18 wins, I think, in a season, in a couple of those. He made everything look very, very simple, very easy. And when you look back 20 years from now, Cam Bobby will be one of those guys that's kind of on the Mount Rushmore of our Superbike championship.
Cameron's 2 seasons racing in Moto2 were just so close to being epic. I mean, one of my favorite races of all time was his first in Kota, because he got that 5th on the grid. He was so close to getting that first podium and just missed out. But the roar of the fans, of them all getting behind in America with the Stars and Stripes livery and everything like that, I still get goosebumps about it, thinking about it to this day.
Obviously the MotoGP class is the premier class, and all those guys have gone through the ladder. They've gone through Moto3, Moto2, and in MotoGP, they're there for a reason. But Moto2 is like a cesspool. It's like, it gets some of the guys that get overlooked for MotoGP seats, they're still there, and even if they should be on MotoGP bikes, they just become veterans of the class, and they're so good. And those bikes too, they're just so temperamental. It's cool looking back on it now, and I'm still happy I did it. Yeah, I wish I did better. Yeah, I wish, like, some things were different for sure. I get to say I raced against Pedro Acosta. Look at what he's doing now. It's pretty amazing, and it's funny that I'm that guy, because I feel like I've always been looked at as the young buck, and now I sit here, I'm 31 years old and racing Superbikes. It's crazy, but
I told him when I was doing a little bit of work with him at the time, you proved that you are one of the guys in this class during that period. There's no questioning. You are good enough to be a Moto2 winner, a Moto2 podium finisher. Just, you need all these other little things to fall in place for it to happen. And they didn't in his 2 years that they were there. Had he stayed for a third, do I think he could have done it? Hell yes, I do. I think Cam would have been a solid championship contender and multiple race winner. But I think he decided that there are some things more important than being a world championship racer.
I'm
Jake Gagne, riding for the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha R1 and MotoAmerica Superbike.
Jake Gagne, when I think of him, he's a grinder. I've watched that guy struggle. I've watched him jump on uncompetitive motorcycles and try to get the most out of them that he possibly can before he really got his shot with Attack Yamaha. 3-time Superbike champion, winning a ton of races. He was teammates to Cam Beaubier in that first year, and so he played second fiddle to Cam a little bit, but he learned a ton. Very smart guy, and a guy who I think really, once he had that opportunity, he grabbed it and took off with it.
When we sadly lost Nicky Hayden, there was a void obviously in World Superbike, and the team, the Red Bull Tenkate Honda, needed to replace Nicky. Jake Gagne was given that opportunity, and I think it was a difficult time for Jake. Not only was he having to deal with coming in as a replacement rider for someone of such a legendary status as Nicky Hayden, but this was a completely different world for Jake Gagne. Living and racing in Europe is very, very different to racing a domestic championship, even though we speak the same language predominantly in a lot of the tracks that we go to. Life in World Superbike is very different to life in MotoAmerica.
It was another huge leap going in full-time World Superbike, going to all these tracks around the world with World Superbike. Like I said, being out there with the best Superbike racers in the world. It was wild, and I learned a shitload throughout the year. Ended up on the ground plenty of times, but like by the end of that year, we finally started kind of getting some momentum, and we were fighting for kind of top 10s, and a lot of the travel was really, really challenging for me. I'm kind of a homebody, and that was one of the toughest parts, but I always just tried to remain grateful that I was out here with the opportunity of a lifetime. People would kill for that opportunity, so I gave it my all, and yeah, like I said, I learned a hell of a lot.
MotoAmerica weekends are really fun to watch. All the teams arrive Thursday, so move-in day is on Thursday. First session out in the morning, I think, is crucial for the Superbikes, especially getting setups and things like that. So Friday morning is going to be setup, Friday afternoon is going to be qualifying. Saturday morning we have our second qualifying session, and then we go right into our first race that afternoon. Sunday morning warm-ups and races again Sunday.
I was making a comeback to the States. It was more importantly than anything, it was just such a satisfying finish to the 2023 year, which again was a difficult one. And so I was super grateful for the opportunity that Toprak gave me to be able to come back with a competitive package and also just be in good hands.
I sent him a text and he answered me. He didn't really have anything overseas, so we started talking and he gave me the green light, and I thought it was perfect. The Miami kid with the Florida team, it would have been a perfect mix, and I've known him for a long time, so it was just perfect.
They allowed me to bring Jeremy Toy, my crew chief, which is a extremely important piece of the puzzle for me.
When I found out that Sean had a possibility of coming back in 2024, obviously I was pretty excited. I've obviously wanted to see him in the limelight of the super competitive championship overseas and the World Tour. But coming back to the US and knowing that we could have a chance on a nice competitive Superbike was actually pretty exciting. So, I was ready to go. I was really happy to do it.
Oh, moving back was the best thing that Sean did, honestly, and best thing he could have done, especially with everything going on over in Europe. I think that people underestimate how it is going over there. I just think he's happier overall, honestly, and you can tell by his results, by him personally, if you know him in his personal life. He's just a big ball of happiness now.
It's the final qualifying session for the Superbike class here in California. Josh Herrin and Cameron Beaubier have been fastest all weekend, but can Jake Gagne or anyone else snatch away the pole?
Qualifying sessions are from day one on Friday. You're trying to do your best to get yourself up on those first two rows. Everybody wants to be on pole. Pole position is number one. That's where you want to start from in both of your races. Qualifying's really become maybe the most important session of the weekend, because if you have a bad qualifying session, you kind of get stuck third or fourth row. Even if you have pace, it's going to be difficult for you to get up there in these races.
8.86 for Sean Dylan Kelly, moving himself back up into second place, getting around Josh Herron and then closing that gap to Cameron Beaubier down to just 0.3 of a second.
How do you feel right out of the truck this weekend, kind of compared to the rest of the season? Would you say you're in the best place you've been so far?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, overall feeling super good. Like I said yesterday, best Friday so far, and today back on the front row. So I'm feeling super good. I'm feeling confident on the bike, which is obviously the most important part. Happy with how I felt with that race with the qualifying tire, and it's going to be tough for sure because everyone's pretty consistent and pretty close on that harder race tire. But the plan is to fight up front. It's going to be a lot easier starting in P2 and just see what the pace is going to be like, see where we can be at the end, and whatever happens, but I'm definitely going to fight for it.
Time for MotoAmerica Superbike Race 1 at Laguna Seca. Cameron Beaubier is on pole position with Sean Dylan Kelly and Cameron Peterson keeping him company on the front row.
When you go to a race weekend, what you're going to see right off the bat is there's usually a 10 to 30 minute period where the riders will be set out on a siding lap, then they'll be sitting on the grid for 10 to 20 minutes. That's where a lot of the pageantry of it is. You'll see a lot of famous people on the grids, especially in Europe and so on. It's the last chance for the riders to talk to their crew chiefs about a plan or whatever it is they've got going. It's also a chance to change tires if you want to while you're out there on the grid. Maybe temperature's cooler or warmer, depending on things. But you're really coming up with a plan for what you're going to do before the start of the race actually happens. And then probably about 5 minutes before the race starts, you're going to get a warm-up lap. Gives you an opportunity, one last time, to take one good solid lap, get as much heat in your tires so that when you come back to the line, you're ready for the green light to go out and get down to business.
Here we go, race number 1, Steel Commander Superbike. 20 laps scheduled in this race, and it looks like a jump start for Sean Dylan Kelly. And he knows it, he starts to roll out of it, but we'll see what the stewards do.
SDK makes that move on JDB. JD looked like he was going to turn it back up underneath him.
Kelly with his 5-second penalty in fourth. And like that pace from there, I just couldn't catch it. Yeah, not super pumped after race 1. Messed up the launch pretty bad, got a jump start, and just messed up the rest of my first lap. So I was down to 7th or 8th and just had to dig through and go through the guys again. So I feel like I did a small repeat of the ridge in a slightly different way where I had the pace, but I was not in the right spot after lap 1, and especially considering that I was on the front row, that was obviously not the intention. So the pace was good, the feeling on the bike was great, so I'm really happy about that, and I think that we're in a good spot to be able to fight up front. So just need to stitch some things together tomorrow and obviously not make that mistake at the beginning, and we'll be right there.
It's race 2 for MotoAmerica Superbike. Will Cameron Beaubier complete the clean sweep, or will Josh Herron challenge for the win?
Once I'm on the grid, I'm in a very focused state. I try to be in a state of not too much emotion, right? Not too much excitement, not too much fear, but just focused, very in the moment. And I will say I love that feeling. I love that feeling because there's nothing else in the mind at the moment.
20 laps scheduled for Steel Commander Superbike race number 2. Lights are off and we're away. And it looked like a clean start this time from the front row.
As SDK now makes a great pass on Cam Peterson up into the corkscrew. So now we got BMW first and third.
Oh my God. I tried, huh? I fucking tried. I'm like, I'm not letting these guys go anywhere. Dude, that was, did you see my pass on Bobby? Yeah. Oh my God. That was so gnarly. Oh my God. I don't know how I made that stick. I thought I was gonna like yank his handlebar.
The last one was so good.
What?
The last attempt, yeah, the last one. I just needed like a little bit extra pull. Just to stop him, and then...
Dude, I was scared to tuck it though.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah, because you're getting close to the bumps, right?
Man, I'm so pumped. It's hard to put into words. You know, yesterday, I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I was a little bit frustrated, but I put my head down. I was super focused today and stitched everything together, made some amazing passes, felt so good on my BMW, and fought for the win until the very end. So I'm pumped on the third place. Obviously, I tried for the win, but it's okay. I was right there with some big dogs. So really pumped on this podium. Laguna Seca, first time on the Superbike, and just a dream come true, to be honest. So ready to keep on fighting and ready for that win that I'm sure is going to come soon. 1, 2, 3. All right, good. Thank you.
My name is Maxwell Toth, and I race for AGR Moto2 in the Junior World Championship.
This sport is tough, really tough. The highs when the riders are experiencing victories and great successes are high, but on the flip side, the lows can be really low. We've seen in recent years a lot more where riders are talking about the mental health pressures that are put on them as well. You know, so it can be quite intense. As I said, the highs can be high, but the lows can be pretty low. You know, I've seen riders leaving teams and even questioning whether they want to continue in the sport when things aren't going right.
The lone American in the Moto2 Junior GP class is Max Toth. He's an American from California. He's been over in Europe now, chasing the dream of becoming a World Championship rider for a few years. He was co-champion in a well-known Italian series run by Aprilia, basically, and then moved into the European scene to try and make his way into that World Championship. And he's one of the AGR riders for this year.
I think the pressure comes in a lot of different areas. I think the easiest answer would be to say that you feel the pressure of representing your entire nation when you go overseas to compete. There's not many Americans right now who are competing overseas in national championships, junior world championships, even world championships. So to be a part of that really small batch that's coming overseas and trying to show what the United States is made of, I think there's a natural sense of pressure when it comes to that. Now, I've never been somebody to put that much pressure when it comes to results. I've always tended to just go into every season, every new opportunity, just saying, hey, I need to do my best. And if my best warrants this result, then that's the result I gotta be happy with. As long as I went out there and I did everything that I'm capable of doing, then we need to be happy with the job done. So I've never felt pressure in that sense, but definitely in terms of representing an entire country, you do feel that.
The pressure has two sides to it, because yes, we all got the pressure. Max got the pressure. He creates pressure for himself. He wants to perform. He wants to be good. He knows the sacrifice we are making. Since 10, he's been going to Italy. He was introduced, quote unquote, Europe very early on. So I don't think there's any pressure racing overseas. I think he really likes them here, whether he's in Italy, Spain, or Hungary. If there's any pressure, we try not to show him. Like if if we have issues financially, or we need to create, X amount of dollars to cover this and cover that, I'm trying not to share anything with him. Obviously, he knows he's grown up. He knows that this costs money, the living situation. This is what he does full time. It costs money, but we try not to involve him in them, so he doesn't have to worry about it,
Junior GP is historically the Spanish championship. It's the junior category that all the best riders over the last 15, maybe even 20 years now have all gone through in order to make it to the World Championship.
The Junior GP is the last step before the World Championship. The level in the Moto2 in the Junior GP are high, not like the World Championship, but it's good place to learn and to prepare the qualities for the future, the World Champion.
Junior GP is basically the junior category to go to Grand Prix racing from Moto3, Moto2 into the World Championship alongside MotoGP. I have raced in the Moto3 Junior World Championship as well, and then I went across to the Moto2. I started getting a bit too big for the Moto3, so the next step for me was to go Moto2. That was the goal, so I thought, while I'm still in the juniors, I will try to learn my craft and adapt to the Moto2.
I think the competition in the Junior GP Moto2 is a lot closer to World Championship than most people realize. I think there's a lot of examples where you can pull lap times from the same circuit from different weekends, and you can start to compare where Junior GP people would stack up in World Championship. And at the end of the day, it really is the field of the 20 riders who just don't fit on that World Championship grid. At the end of the day, you can only bring 20-something riders at a race at a time. So in my eyes, the Junior GP has always been, well, you're the 20 people that just don't fit. So you're kind of picking out who are going to be the best people to move into the small crevices. But at the end of the day, it's Junior World Championship for a reason. These guys know what they're doing. These guys are the most experienced racers that I've ever raced with. You know, there's not a single rider on that grid who doesn't belong there. And I think it really is the perfect breeding ground for the World Championship.
Now it's become its own World Championship in its own right. It visits places like Portugal, France, Italy, has done over the years, as well as Spain. So it's truly an international series now, where a lot of the World Championship teams also field teams in Junior GP, and they sort of pick their potential World Championship riders of the future to race for them, to sort of scope out who's got the talent, the work ethic that they might want to bring forward onto the world stage. Over the last 3 or 4 years, basically every champion of the Junior GP Moto2 category has moved up to the Moto2 World Championship. It's as simple as that. Senna Aegis is the most recent one. He won it last year, heading into the World Championship full-time this year for his first season. And he won it in really dominant fashion, and the pressure is on him to really perform in the World Championship from the get-go, basically. When you look at what the previous champions in European Moto2 did as well, thinking of the likes of Aldeguer and Alonso Lopez.
Yeah, 2021 was very special and important for me because I doesn't have so much money for ride, and I put all for 1 year, and when I do the replace with Jari Montella on Mugello, I open my door, no, for stay on the World Championship, but this is also for won 9 race consecutive on the Junior GP, and yeah, with Bosco Oscuro.
Last year we won the 2023 Moto2 European Championship. Massive relief, if anything, because we'd been over here for coming 4 years now, and to finally have a championship under my belt was a super proud moment, and especially for my family back home and my dad and everyone like this, so that's been over here with me. So everything went to plan, and a lot of hard work was put in, but in the end it was worth it, and it set me up into the position I am now.
The AGR team's a real stalwart of like the Grand Prix scene, so to speak. They were previously actually in the World Championship categories quite a few years ago now, but since they've been really focusing on building talent to come through into the World Championship, building it into the Junior GP scene. The likes of Joe Roberts, who's a real now veteran of Moto2, came through there previously, you know, sort of 10 years ago now. They're really they're seen as one of the top teams that young riders, especially the international ones, go through to actually make it into the World Championship.
AGR team is a professional motorcycle racing team specialized in foreign riders. AGR has long history with America. This came basically because of I like America a lot, and with the time I started helping. One of the first riders that I helped there was Benny Solis. then Lex Hall, then Joe Roberts. Ian Sharpner is one of the very first one that came to race with AGR. After that, it came Jason Uribe, raced with us a couple of years. Joe Roberts, then Benny came to race with us again. There is a long list of Americans. Some of them, they have success and go to GP, like Joe Roberts, and some of them, they went back to MotoAmerica for winning and being front runners.
Really, I haven't thought about being one of the only Americans overseas until like last year when I got selected for Rookies Cup, because I've just been racing to go fast and I haven't really been thinking like, oh, I'm the only American, you know, because that really only has been processed in my brain like maybe this year. And I feel really good. Obviously, it's a really big confidence booster for riding in general to know like I might be like an image or a light for some younger Americans, which I think would be awesome if we can put the States back on the right track and get a whole bunch of Americans in the World Championship MotoGP.
Well, Anscari Nadal, who's it's Christian's manager now, he's probably one of the main reasons that we moved to Europe in the first place. You know, we're from Los Angeles, California. We got the recommendation from a lot of people back home that Christian should race in Europe because this is the place to have him develop his skills. So Anscari, actually, when we first arrived back in 2018, he got us set up with an apartment, he got us set up with training bikes, connected us with a racing team for mini GP. Between age 9 until age 12, he was kind of being a behind-the-scenes support, you know, getting us acclimated here because there's a lot of things, it's a whole nother racing culture. You know, I'm not sure we would have been where we are now without Anscari's support.
What was so difficult is obviously to see the struggle what we were doing in 2023 with him, because in 2022 with the Aprilia Cup in Italy in the National Championship Series in the 660 class, we have won multiple races. Listening to the American anthem in Mugello Saturday and Sunday when he won 2 races, I mean, that was amazing, you know, that was unbelievable. So we have won races, then we went to WorldSBK, which is the equivalent of MotoAmerica, I would say. It's their national group. And then we raced the 600 the very first time, never rode the bike. And then to close off the season with podium finishes on the 600, that was just like unbelievable. And that when we made the decision to let's just do the Moto2 season. Then we followed up with a contract, which we were super excited at that time. And we had no clue what we signed up for. We had absolutely no clue. So the struggle started at the first test.
I think the biggest challenge that I faced in my Moto2 rookie season was that I had to try and overcome an environment where my best interests were not of priority. We had a lot of needs that were not met in order to create a package that was competitive for that season. Every weekend, I found myself fighting issues and problems that really had nothing to relate to just going out and performing on track. And I think that this was the biggest issue, where you're fighting for tenths, hundredths, thousands of seconds, and every single bit counts. And when you can't go out and just solely focus on your work as a rider and your work that you're doing on track, when you have so many outside issues and differences and things that just don't relate to riding, it becomes very difficult to try and even think about competing, let alone to try and go and perform.
It was truly amazing that we survived as much as we were able to in 2023. But it truly made him that much stronger. So maybe it was good that we went through it, because maybe it helps us later down the road. And if he can survive that, I think, because shit is gonna happen all the time. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen again. As much as I'm trying to avoid it, it will happen again. But my eyes are open.
Yeah, joining AGR is super exciting for me. Obviously, with their huge and thick history of having Americans in the team, I've been very aware of Anscari and the whole project that he's running there for a long time. And you know, we've been speaking with Anscari and developing a relationship for, you know, a little bit now. And I think that the confidence of knowing that they're a team that has a package to do well, you know, they're a team with people who really do want to see you succeed and really do want to see you do well. that gives a lot of good feelings going into this season. I think it'll be cool to be paired with Christian Daniel as well. We have a really good relationship, super cool guy, super cool family, and I think to have two Americans in the box under one umbrella, shall we say, will make the environments on the race weekend super cool and kind of give some of that homey feeling that I've been missing a little bit. You know, it's difficult to be some of the only Americans when you're overseas in a completely different country. So if you can go to race weekends and have a little bit of familiarity to go with you, you know, that will definitely help a lot. The Momelo crash was not one that I was expecting, even in the moment. I was on a good lap. I was upping the pace a little bit, and as I came out of the chicane, the front wheel just, you know, came up and wheelied as it normally does in that section. You get pretty hard on the gas when you accelerate out, so it wasn't anything out of the norm. But as soon as the front wheel came down, I felt like I just had no grip. I was just on ice, and I don't know, in hindsight, whether it was where I placed my front wheel, whether it was in the middle of the curbing between the red and the green, whether it was because that it didn't come down straight, but when it came down, it just immediately started sliding, and there wasn't really much I could do at that moment. It was kind of just a flash after that, where I was just thrown up, tossed, rolling through the gravel into the wall, and then getting up and saying, oh shit, that just happened. You know, we were fighting arm pump issues for a majority of that test. We ended up postponing the second day after that because I couldn't do more than 4 or 5 laps on the bike. And, you know, we ended up getting surgery after that to try and fix it and solve it for the rest of the season and be ready for Misano. But it was tough because, you know, I had already done that surgery 2 years ago, and our hopes was that that was going to be the end of it when we struggled with the 600. So for it to come back now and for it to be an issue that I can't really ignore anymore, and for me to have to say, okay, it might be time to go under the knife again, it's difficult, but at the end of the day, this is life. This is life as a racer, and you know, you have to just work on finding solutions for these problems and not being stuck on them. So
crashing is complex because there's so many different ways that you can crash the motorcycle. Since I'm there from the beginning with Max, we've been always specifically learned to crash. We had drills and then constantly crashing within drills and knowing, hey, is there a safe crash or not a safe crash? And that happened quite early on. So quite early on, we were like, oh, well, that's just a low side. Oh, he just stuck the front, he knows what's going on. It's almost like time slows down for him as well as a father. I'm watching it almost in slow motion. Yeah, I see where he's inside hand. Oh, that's fine. The worst is that now that I'm not here with him all the time, now I don't see it anymore. And you know, I leave my phone on because of the time difference. We have 9-hour time difference from California to Spain. And on test when he goes, I'm not on all of them there. And I leave my phone and I go to sleep and I'm like, is that phone gonna ring or not? And sure as shit, my phone rang on his first test. And I knew it at 3 o'clock when my phone rings, well, something happened, you know, that I crashed. And that's the scary part, because I don't know if he was calling from the hospital. I don't know if he's calling from, you know, what the situation is, you know. He could be, all I see is his face, or I can hear him, right? So I think that's the worst part right now. Go to bed, put the phone next to me, and make sure the fucking phone doesn't ring.
Down, it just immediately pushed into sliding.
Wow. And then just grabbed.
Then it grabbed, yeah. And then I was just, somehow it threw me off. I don't even know. I went from the middle of the curb all the way to the wall.
And the bike up on
the bike on the wall.
Wow. Yeah, because when I see it there, I say, wow. Like I seen you walking, you know, let's see. But other than that, it's okay, no, you know.
Other than that, it's fine. I had Dude, I don't know how much is adrenaline right now and what it'll feel like in 2 hours, you know? I have a little bit.
You would know if it's broken.
I had it, no, not broken. I had this little pain right here when I went to take the suit off, like really sharp. So I don't know what this will be in a little bit. It's right here. But, I mean, this.
Well, as long as nothing broken.
Ciao, buongiorno. Yeah, tutto a posto? All right. That was a rough one. Buongiorno. Tutto okay? Yeah. You know it's not good when they just laugh at me when I speak Italian. Morning, Cabrito.
Morning.
Good to see you, boys. Buongiorno.
Garrett Gerloff is from the Lone Star State in Texas, and he's also the lone American at the moment in the World Superbike Championship. And remember, the United States has actually produced more World Superbike champions than any other country. So it's very important we have an American on the grid.
He arrived into the WorldSBK paddock in 2019 at Magny-Cours looking for a ride. Nobody knew who he was, but he was looking for a ride. By the end of the weekend, he had a ride. And a lot of that came down to the fact that he has massive belief in his own ability. He's been able to win in Super Sport Championships in America. He's been able to be a race winner on a Superbike. He wanted to come and test himself in WorldSBK. His biggest problem was he arrived in 2020 and then immediately the world shut down. He came into the COVID pandemic season where everything was turned on its head. But for Garrett Gerloff, he was able to base himself in Europe. He didn't go back to America. He wanted to give himself the best chance of having a successful career here. But more than anything, he was able to show people that he had speed and he had talent, and he was able to get onto the podium, which speaks for itself really for a rider coming in to learn new racetracks, new rivals, and a whole new way of racing.
Check. Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Garrett, and I'm here to do an interview. My name's Garrett Gerloff, and I race for the Bonovo Action BMW team.
When you look at what Garrett did when he raced here in Supersport, they are still chasing records from those years that Garrett set lap times on. And I know the bikes were a little bit different and things, but JD Beach and Garrett were pushing each other on the same team and winning races and championships. So, you know, I think that's where Garrett really came to fruition in the sense that, you know, he wanted to win every race he could, and he wasn't happy just winning a race by a marginal amount. He wanted to crush everybody. And, you know, he took those championship years that he had, and he took that right into Superbike with him. And, you know, I think that those years were very formidable for him, and that's where he cut his teeth mostly and learned how to win and learned how to really work with his teams.
Trying to make that transition over to Europe was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. There was a lot of stuff with, you know, residency and like taxes and things like that I wasn't exactly expecting to have to deal with. So that was like one issue. The other issue was just riding the guys over here on another level, really. They have so much experience with guys that are all racing at a top level that they just build off each other. And so I kind of felt like I was pretty far behind. And 2020 was another big building year for me on working on different techniques and like riding techniques and trying to figure out what I was missing compared to those guys. And luckily by the end, we had actually figured it out, yeah.
Garrett Gerloff is a former MotoAmerica champion. He was given the chance to come to World Superbike, and I think for the most part he's acquitted himself well, but the journey for Garrett in World Superbike has not always been easy. I think he's made some mistakes by his own admission, and I think he's had some things that maybe riders shouldn't have to deal with.
It was up and down for Garrett through the course of his 2 years with GRT. He was able to show some fantastic speed. He was able to be at the front. He was able to finish on the podium. But ultimately, everything about his 2 years with Yamaha comes down to Assen 2021.
Gerloff sliding his way down the inside. Oh, he's collected Toprak!
The crash with Razgatlioglu into turn 1 at Assen. Off the race start, Gerloff attacked into turn 1, braked too deep, and took out his effective teammate. And for Yamaha, this was
the biggest no-no imaginable. And for Andrea Dossoli, for the project leader for Yamaha, obviously Gerloff bore the brunt of everything that happened in the aftermath. That Yamaha thought they'd lost a world championship. Toprak thought he had lost a world championship. And in that moment, Garrett also thought that he had cost Yamaha this world championship. And ultimately for Gerloff, he spent the rest of that season fighting the demons from it.
2020 was a year of just straight up I mean, it was starting from the lowest possible place, like 17th at Phillip Island, so horrible in my opinion, to finishing the year having like, I think it was 4 podiums or something. I was able to like figure things out, not as fast as I would have liked, but by the end of it, it was just clicking so nice. Yeah, 2021, I had some podiums, but it was definitely more of a downward part of my career, which is a bummer, because I think things could have been a lot different if you know, some incidents that I had wouldn't have happened, and I just kept getting good results. But you know, sometimes you got to have a bit of stuff like that to make the story more interesting. So I'll just accept it. Probably throughout my whole career, going to new tracks has been one of my favorite things, because I have like no past experience there, and it's just like engaging to learn a new track and to figure out its intricacies and everything. And so going to Cremona, it looked weird, honestly, when I watched YouTube videos and stuff trying to figure the track out. But once I got there and rode it, I was actually really excited about the possibilities for racing there. And so for me, I mean, the biggest thing I focus on is just where are my braking markers, and then my lines, and those 2 things, if I can get those kind of figured out, then everything clicks in pretty easily. And you know, so I had some fun.
Switching to the Bonovo Action BMW team gave Garrett Gerloff a chance to reinvent himself. I think after 2 seasons with Yamaha, he needed a new challenge. We weren't sure whether he would even stay in the paddock, whether he'd go back to America. So when it was announced that he was going to BMW, it gave him a new opportunity.
When he arrived in WorldSBK, everyone knew of his talent. But by the time he left Yamaha, everyone knew about the mental frailties that he had shown over the course of the last couple of years. The biggest thing for Gerloff was immediately on the BMW, he had a fresh sheet of paper. He had a new manufacturer, he had a new team, and he was back working with Les Pearson. He was able to mold things around him.
I think it also gave him an opportunity, and us an opportunity, to see what he's like as a development rider, somebody that can help to shape a motorcycle that historically hadn't been getting the best of results. And I think looking at some of the results he had, you know, 4 BMWs on the grid, and Garrett was often the fastest. He took pole position in France for the very first time. So I think he's helped BMW in certain ways, and I think it's kept him on the grid, which is good.
I thought one of the biggest moments of the year was whenever he was in a race with Michael van der Mark at the end of the season, and another BMW rider, how is Garrett going to react to a bar-to-bar battle? He came out on top, and I thought it was one of those really telling moments that showed he had put Aston behind him, and now he was able to look forward.
It's alright, it's alright.
I think you like the circuit,
Not bad. It's like a go-kart track.
Yeah.
It's just like every time, as soon as I get like a little bit confident, I just freaking don't stop when I blow the corner. It's like, I mean, it was nice following Tito, because like I was coming out a bit too wide here, and then I wasn't able to get back to the left here, and then I was slow through here. And it was nice to see him do it right, and then I was able to like change that a bit.
On a single lap, Garrett on his day can be ridiculously quick. He's just about as good as they can be. He can be very, very good. His downfall is, and he'll even say this himself, he can be extremely hard on himself, can mentally, I think, be a little bit fragile at times and be too hard on himself, over apologising to the team, and sometimes that can affect him. And sometimes it doesn't take much, I think, to flip that, unfortunately.
I saw you was on a fast road, and then obviously your speed was like down
Aspetta, stopping, stop, molla qua.
Yes. Yeah, no, you had some good ones, you had some good.
Good.
Good, very good. And the speed was like 299, it's like I caught someone.
Yeah, well, that's what pissed me off, is that like I knew it was going to be a good lap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's muddy down there.
Thank you. Your helmet, please.
Okay.
Alright, thanks for coming. I see you outside. Wow, one moment. Okay.
It was on for a decent lap. The one before.
Yeah, the one before you were about 0.4 up, but you had a 600, didn't you, at the end? Sorry for this.
But when everything is right and everything's lined up properly, he's brilliant.
He's a guy that can finish on the podium. He can win races in the right circumstances. He can be a top-class World SBK rider, and he was able to prove that by overcoming his demons. And ultimately, that's what we want our racers to do. That's what we want our riders to do. That's what we want sportsmen to do. We want them to have a challenge, and we want them to overcome it.
My goal is to just work my way up as high as I can in World Superbike. Try to get as many like top 3s, top 2s, wins if I can. Try to just get as many of that as possible for as long as possible. I mean, I'd like to be here for another 5 years if I can. I know that this is probably where I'm gonna be the rest of my career, let's say. And so I want to make the most of it while I still have the opportunity, you know, before I go back to racing in America. You know, I'm just trying to enjoy the time that I have here in Europe and make as many memories as I can to look back on and smile on.
Real road racing has its roots in Northern Ireland. It's closed roads, public roads racing. It's not circuit racing, it's not short circuit, it's the roads that the farmers and the traffic and the families use to get about their daily business. They close the roads, they have a mass start, and away they go. It's an incredible spectacle. The Armoy road races are one of the sole surviving short circuit closed road races around towns and villages in Northern Ireland. They race around the town of Armoy. It's the home of Joey Dunlop and the Dunlop family. They have jumps, they have stone walls, they go from one end of the village to the other on a circuit, and it's still the most amazing spectacle in Irish road racing.
My name is Davey Todd and I'm racing for Milwaukee BMW Motorrad.
Davey Todd is one of the rising stars of the road racing scene. He's one of the riders still today that can do short circuit and road racing as well. He has success at the TT, he has success at the Northwest 200, he's had success at Armoy. He's one of those riders that can turn his hand to anything.
I come from a motocross background and that helps me so much and translates perfectly into road racing. Especially here at Armoy, we got jumps over the back and some big jumps at that. So the jumping experience specifically, normal roads are bumpy. They're not like short circuits, they're not like tracks. That are super smooth and perfectly made for racing around. These are real roads and they have bumps and potholes and jumps. You have to ride the bike totally differently, and I think standing up on the pegs and letting the bike move beneath you, amongst a ton of other things, really help from a motocross background translate into road racing.
The main road races that we have are obviously the TT, the biggest of them all. 2 weeks on the Isle of Man in the middle of the Irish Sea. fantastic. Again, it's an amazing spectacle with the top road racers in the world do their thing around the 37 3/4 mile circuit. The Senior TT is the blue ribbon race of the season. It is the one that everybody wants to win. Going back across the years, some of the greatest names in road racing have won the Senior TT. And for Davey to join those names on that trophy is the pinnacle of his road racing career. What he has to do now is back that up a second time and really make his mark in the world of road racing and the Isle of Man TT.
To win my first Isle of Man TT this year is an absolute dream come true. I think it's something that every road racer dreams of, maybe even every racer in general, because the TT is the big one. I don't think there's any bigger race singularly in the world. For sure, the likes of MotoGP is huge, but that's over a bunch of different rounds and all season long. The Isle of Man TT is 2 weeks, it's one event, it's just a few races all at the same time. So to win my first one, I can't describe the feeling. Winning other races is cool, and I love that, and that's what I live for. But winning a TT, that feeling genuinely lasted for months after. Still buzzing about it now, and the confidence that it brings after winning my first TT. Obviously went straight on a couple of days later and won my second TT, and not only my second TT, it was the senior, the big one, the biggest race at the TT. So it definitely gives me a bunch of confidence going forward. I definitely can't wait to go back there and try and win a few more, but it gives me a bunch of confidence going into the other road races in the season, knowing that I want to keep beating the best guys there is.
Welcome back. It's time for the big one, the Armoy Race of Legends. The Race of Legends has been dominated by Michael Dunlop ever since it was introduced. However, no Dunlop here this year. So we're expecting Davey Todd, who is in pole position, to be the man to beat.
Coming into Armoy for 2024, Davey's confidence is absolutely at peak. He's beaten Michael Dunlop this year, he's beaten the best of the best, and he's won at Armoy previously. So coming into this year's event, he's going to be absolutely ready to take the challenge on and to repeat his successes of previous years.
To keep the winning streak alive, we just have to keep doing what we've been doing. I'm so comfortable with the Milwaukee BMW team. I feel happy with the team, I feel relaxed. I'm here to have fun with my guys and do a good job. I love the course around here, and I'm for sure going to be trying to send some big jumps out the back because I know people love that and enjoy racing around. I'll try my best. I've got the lap record here from a couple of years ago. Hopefully the weather holds out and we get some good racing.
And away they go, and Todd screams into the lead. Crow behind him in second place. Todd already pulling away from Crow. Herbertson into third place, Jordan fourth.
Racing around Armoy circuit with the atmosphere that it has around here, it's what keeps me coming back every year. Obviously the love of racing around here is really strong, but the fans are what make it. True road races, I think that's one of the biggest things that make it special.
David Todd won this race back in 2022. Last year, Michael Dunlop famously did so. So here goes Todd right to the edge. Just you can see how much he's trying and he's enjoying himself. Oh, and he's broken his own lap record. 1:39.5, 2/10 quicker than the lap record he set back in 2022. And Davey Todd has broken the outright lap record at Armoy, and on lap number 2.
Out on the circuit, you can genuinely see all the spectators cheering you on from the side of the road. It gives you a buzz as a rider as well to see the expressions you catch. Even with the speeds that we're doing, you catch some of the random expressions of people being amazed and cheering you on and waving a flag maybe from the side of the track. And it's really cool to see that, and it's something that you don't get to see at a short circuit.
So Davey Todd then a couple of turns away from victory here at Armoy. It will be his second Armoy Race of Legends victory. Here he comes. to take the checkered flag. What kind of celebration can we expect from the Milwaukee BMW man this time?
Fuck, that was hairy. Like over in the town, it was like tanking down the last 2 laps. Like bad. Like it was proper like streaming up the screen. I'm like, oh. It's just awesome to see the support around the circuit. All the fans that have come out here to cheer us on and support us. It's mega. It really is awesome to see.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you.
Hi.
We'd love to do 10 grand.
Well done.
Thank you.
I go now. Happy?
Yeah. Yeah, well happy. Nice trophy.
Ah, more
Where's
damn
that?
it. Another flower vase. Perfect.
Yeah, so after getting the three wins there, I'm absolutely over the moon, to be honest. Both big bike races. The Race of Legends was the one that we came for. It's just the big main race, so I was desperate to win that. We got it. The Milwaukee BMW guys did a fantastic job. All weekend. They did a great job all weekend. Had great fun, as you can see. And no, I've thoroughly enjoyed Armoy. Always enjoy it. It's back to grassroots racing, so it's a real good change from what we do normally. So yeah, great weekend.
World Championship riders train on every different type of motorcycle that they possibly can to develop different skills that they may need on the circuit. A lot of the riders will train on superbikes or super sport bikes, depending on what category they're actually racing in. Many of them, though, one of the best ways to learn things like throttle control and for when your tyres start to go off, let's say, is by riding flat track, dirt track, or even motocross. That loose turf beneath your tyres, forcing you to be a lot more careful with your inputs on the bike, is such a valuable skill set which you can learn from practicing those disciplines. I like to think a lot of the road racers that are very good at lots of different disciplines, you know, they could probably be very, very handy at those disciplines in a professional setting in their own right as well.
These riders are ridiculously fit. In fact, they are more athletic than a lot of athletes. And compared with car racing, the rider on a bike is approximately 1/3 of the mass of the overall package. So being in good physical shape and doing the right physical fitness to ride a bike is also key. So sometimes you need to put more core strength on as opposed to too much on the legs, for example. But you have to be like that if you're going to win the World Championship.
If you were a Grand Prix racer, motorcycle racer 30, 40 years ago, it was much more dangerous. But you know, you race your motorbike and then you had a party for 3-4 days or whatever, and you went on to the next race and you smoked cigarettes and you drank beer, and that's what you did. And now, if you race a motorcycle at the top level, you've got to be training 5-6 days a week, all year round, pretty much. You might get a week or two off for Christmas, but you know, the dedication is terrifying, you know, to the physical training, the mental training, you know, the technical stuff that goes on now. I mean, it's more than a full-time job. It's a complete life. There's no escape from it, basically. I mean, if you want to make it to the top, you've got to say, right, no more fun till I get there, really.
I'm Alex Santacreu and I am a trainer of MotoGP and JuniorGP riders.
Santa Cruz Sports is one of these training groups of riders where a group of World Championship riders together, training every day, day in, day out, pushing each other to become better. Well, what better way to do that with riders over in sort of the Barcelona region than to put Moto3, JuniorGP, Moto2, MotoGP riders all together, have them training, doing trials, doing cycling, gym, mini biking, karting, just about everything that they need to develop their skills for motorcycle racing. That's basically what the Santa Cruz training camp basically does.
Well, before start Santa Cruz, I was alone trying to manage everything. Pick up the riders to the airport, to prepare the bikes, change the tires, transport the bikes. I had to do everything alone, no? But this brings me a lot of experience. Now the company with Santa Cruz, everything is more big. We have mechanics, trainers, and to have this experience, it's more easy now for manage everything.
I think now it's my 4th or 5th year with Aleix training. Obviously in the past I also trained with Aleix in my first years of Moto3. Basically what we do is we are like 5, 6, 7 great riders and we just push each other every time we are in the track, and this is making always your level going up.
Obviously Aleix is extremely hands-on with his riders and you know what he does with the riders. You know, he's there in the trenches with you, helping you out and suffering with you all along the way. So
I moved from home, so it gave me the opportunity to keep riding at the best level. And for me, what is best is the company. You know, like we are a lot of top riders riding, young ones and top ones like us in MotoGP.
As a rider, also it's nice to share track with the young people, no, that is growing. We train all together with the same kind of motorbike, so the level of the motorbike is more or less the same for everyone.
Always it's nice to come to Barcelona and see many people and see fast guys and make group and train for improve, you know. My relationship with Aleix now become more personal. Now, I don't know, we make some cycling races and all these things, and he's quite a special guy, but for sure know how to make his work.
I knew Aleix Santa Creu from already my Rookies Cup days, having met him, having been in that area. I just knew that, you know, if I was going to be in the World Championship and I was going to be training over there, I needed to surround myself with the highest level of people, the highest level of racers. That's exactly what I went out to do. Aleix is training with GP guys every single day, and I knew I needed to be in that environment. So
yeah, for me it's very special because I enjoy a lot with Santa Creu here in Barcelona. He knows really well the works that we need to do we are strong for the races, so I like and I enjoy a lot because also a lot of riders come, so for me it's very good.
It really brings up the level of what an athlete can be. Going into each race weekend, you've got to be as ready as possible, and outside of racing is so important to be at such a high level.
You have such high riders here that makes you like motivated, and you see a bit what they do, so you can adapt, can see how they achieve their things, what they train, a lot of things like this.
My name is Joseph Garcia. I race for Red Bull KTM Factor Racing Team and I race in Enduro GP. Yes, I was working with Aleix from many years ago. First of all, we are good friends, so I see him during the whole process. When he started doing his new team, I saw how he grew up during the whole years, and it's impressive how much effort he put on his job. And for sure, I think for us, for the athletes, is really nice to have him because he's giving his 100% to all of us. Yeah, the Aleix program, it helps, as everyone can see, all the athletes. At the end, we have athletes from different disciplines, but at the end it switches to everyone because we ride motocross, we ride trial bike, then we go more to the physical part on road cycling, mountain bike. So it's a program that it switches to every athlete from every discipline, and I think you can improve your body fitness and also your riding style working with him.
Yo soy Jaime Augusto,
compito en el Mundial de Trial Outdoor y X-Trial para el equipo Garrett Factory Team. Bueno, la verdad que pues tratar con Alex es súper fácil, ¿no? A mí desde el primer día me ha tratado súper bien. Siempre me ha ayudado mucho a entrenar, a combinar trial con motocross, enduro, bici y otras cosas que a mí me costaba más, pero él ha hecho que sea mucho más fácil. Bueno, la verdad que yo estaba siempre muy obsesionado como un trial, y Alex me ha hecho ver más que haciendo otras cosas poder mejorar con la bici que yo no me gusta, lo odio, pero él me la ha metido en la cabeza y me ha ayudado, me ha hecho hacerlo ver mejor, con el motocross también, y al final de todas esas cosas me ha hecho ver que he podido mejorar en el trial.
After to work some years with Maverick, we had the idea to create a company together for have more help to me around the trainings, no? Have more mechanics, have more trainers. Like this, you can have junior riders, then the GP riders, and you can be a little bit everywhere, no? And with them, so we try to create this, the Santa Creu, and have more bikes, more material, mechanics, and it's a pleasure, no? To have one GP rider next to you to make one company like this.
The mission of that is to help the kids, because somehow I've seen in the past that the kids are spending a lot of money, you know, to just to go into a class. We are not talking about World Championship, we are talking about FIM Championship or even Spanish Championship. So what we would like to do is trying to give the opportunity to the kids to develop themselves and show up to the world, you know, at his maximum potential. And this is what we are looking with Aleix, and obviously it's also good for me because I'm still learning and improving myself.
Toprak has now won the 2024 World Championship, and for all of his rivals, they're going to be hungrier than ever to try and challenge him again in the future. Jonathan Rea showed his determination this season to overcome the challenges that he's had on a Yamaha. He's had the toughest season of his career, but he wants to come back next year. Alvaro Bautista is a double world champion in the Superbike class, and after a very tough start to the season, he found good form with the Ducati. Ultimately, it was his crashes that cost him this season. It was mistakes on his part that cost him a world championship. For 2025, he wants to put that right. For Toprak, he knows that he's got a target on his back, and it's Bautista, Rea, Bulaga, and quite a few other riders that are going to be chasing him down.
Hi guys, it's Ryan Vickers here, and I'm racing for the MotoCorsa Ducati team in World Superbikes. This year I raced in the British Superbike Championship. For 2025, I'm racing in the World Superbike Championship, and that comes with a lot of challenges, you know. For me, there's new circuits, new electronics, different schedules, you know, traveling, you know, being on an aeroplane, not being in your vehicle, traveling in a motorhome, you know, I'm going to be in hotels, traveling around the world. So it's, there's a lot of things to learn, a lot of things with the electronics and the way the team works, understanding a new language, you know, all of these things, you've got to put a lot of time in to be able to give yourself the best shot.
Poco good or more?
Amazing.
Okay.
It is fast.
It
just keeps revving, you're like, wow. Well, it's always been my goal since a little kid to be world champion, you know, and sometimes you have to, sometimes the progression takes a little bit longer than you were hoping, or, you know, but I've learned a lot in British Superbikes. I'm at a point where I can win a lot of races, and the opportunity came in with MotoCorsa Ducati, and this is a perfect opportunity for me to now move into the World Championship progress my skills and everything, and progress my career to working towards being world champion.
Yeah, it's been interesting so far, just the move and everything. First off, it's just weird because I've been with the same team for 2 years, and then literally overnight, from Sunday night to Monday morning, I'm in a different box, different faces, you know, different everything. And so that's been like a pretty big shock, because the last time I switched teams and bikes, I had a month off before actually testing the bike and changing everything. So that's like been a little bit strange, but I mean, so far I'm really liking working with everybody, really liking the bike. It's definitely, it's got some good parts that I wasn't expecting and some things that maybe could be better or quite a bit better. But all in all, I mean, I'm pretty happy with like the work that we've done the last couple of days, and I feel like race pace is good. I'm still shit on a qualifying tire, which really pisses me off, but I think it'd be a good year.
It's time for race 2 here at Circuit of the Americas in Texas for MotoAmerica Superbike.
I knew we were going to win something, I just didn't know when and where. And when I looked up after I crossed the start finish and I looked up and I saw the 40, I just couldn't believe it. And then I caught him back somewhere, and you know, he was so happy. It was really badass to get the win.
Again, coming from the past 2 seasons that he had were so tough on him, and again, like he needed that. So again, like it was awesome for me to see it, for him to be on there, but for him, I was so excited. I was so excited. We anticipated it. We just didn't know when it was coming because it was so close every single race this year. It was awesome. It was so much excitement, so much happiness.
Winning at COTA was amazing. That just simplifies. But to be honest, it was almost hard for me to really understand at first, because you start on a project to make it to the top. You always think you're going to make it, but you never know when. Coming that early was pretty surprising, but the emotions were, it almost took a little bit for it to sink in. It was pretty special.
First Superbike win is on, I would say, the top 1 of best days of my life so far. It was emotional because a lot of things added up, and there was definitely the side of, you know, I felt like I achieved a dream, you know, to come back and to go to the highest level of the U.S. road racing, winning my rookie year. But there was also just the side that, like, you know, it was so relieving after all those moments that I had to go through, and you know, in 23, it reached a moment where I didn't even know if I was ever going to be able to, you know, it might sound exaggerated, but I didn't really know if I was ever going to be competitive on a bike again, in particular because of the injury. So to go from such a low to then not even a year later go to the highest of highs, it was just a feeling that I can't explain. It was huge, and then, you know, you add in the special livery with the kids. Just a week before, we had gone to the children's hospital that's only here 10 minutes away from my house, and had all the kids riding and drawing on the bike, and that was the absolute cherry on top. And as I said on the podium that day, it was a fairy tale first Superbike win. One that came with a little bit of extra pressure, because after that situation with the kids, doing the special livery, everyone said, hey, this is your weekend, and it definitely was in the back of my head, but truly it was an extra motivation, it was an extra push. I thought about them on that last lap, and I gave it everything. I threw everything at it, and yeah, man, we needed that. I needed that.
name is Alonso and I'm the 2024 Moto3 World Champion. Wow, the feeling was so strange. I mean, it was like I crossed the finish line and I say, wow, I don't know if it's real or not, because during the whole year I was like all the days on the shower, like trying to put my mind in that moment, and I really want that moment, and I feel that moment days before. So when I reached that day, it was like, I don't know if it was another time on the shower or it was the real one. So it was a strange feeling. Not only winning the championship, also that record that we have achieved, it's really nice, but also put like more pressure on you, and that's what I'm trying to control, what I am trying to learn, letting on the past the 2024, and now focus on the 2025, not be a world champion anymore and start the new category from zero. And that thing is not easy to do it, but I am trying.
So once the season's finished and everybody has had maybe a singular week off and they've had their burgers, pizzas, they're full and they're back to training, I guess the next event that a lot of the riders based in the Barcelona area have to, like, you know, size themselves up against each other ready for the next season is the Rocco's Rants Christmas TT. They're, what, 150 odd cc sort of mini motocross bikes, and it's a tag team race, riders all night, I don't know how many laps it is, just banging bars, riders from all different categories and disciplines of motorcycling racing against one another, and it's a fantastic night out.
Fucking hell, we was quite fast for this weekend going. Now I will make some scraps.
I'm struggling. I've had 3 big crashes today. Sick of it.
Woo! What's up? Let's go.
We are here. Look, with Aleix, Ferran Cardós, all the people,
all the mafia.
And that's it. TT Christmas.
Hey.
No, take it all out. Last one. Fucking locked in, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
After this, that's it. We're going home.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
So fucking go crazy.
We'll clean everybody out.
Having fun always here. That race of the year.
Crazy race. A lot of people, especially on the start, was so crazy, but so funny also. So let's enjoy the last race in TT Christmas. We'll see.
Con una onda di merda! Di merda! Che passa? Let's go!
Fortíssim aplaudiment als mocos l'any 2006 per l'Ancarús, Diogo Moreira! Director d'operacions al circuit de Catalunya entrega els premis als flamants guanyadors del 2024. Fortíssim aplaudiment a Diogo Moreira i Ferran Carrús. Increïble! Atenció!
OnlyFans athlete, Superbike rider. I'm a badass. Don't talk to me.
Like I said, just be a little careful.
Yeah.
Getting on, getting off, making sure that you don't hit any. I'm hoping that won't be an issue.
I don't think so.
I'm so nervous. Shaking in me boots.
So are you quaking in your boots?
Quaking, sir.
All right, let's do this. So we have quite a few questions. We've got 17 questions for you.
Bruh.